And welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in the Long Dark, where we've come to this location to warm up on the way back down to Coastal Highway. Simple fishing lure. Probably want the more complicated fishing lure, to be fair. Pretty on fishing, yeah. But we'll make a couple hooks while we're here. Decent way to pass 40 minutes to warm up in the building. Go. Yeah, we should be, assuming the weather holds and we can make our way out of Mountain Time, we should be able to make a decent amount of progress getting down to Coastal Highway in this part. If not, get all the way down to Coastal Highway in this part. And if we do get down to Coastal Highway in this part, we may be able to complete getting the delivery ready in the next part, I think. So before the stream ends, if you're still watching the stream at this point, we'll hopefully be ready to trigger the Aurora early next stream, so we can then be ready to make use of it by running over to Pleasant Valley. Because as far as Signalwood goes, we're missing the Pleasant Valley one, and then the Pleasant Valley is the second to last one. The last one is basically back at where we started. Out at the Forsaken Airfield to find the fourth and final bunker. That one will have to be wandering around long enough. I think the deer I just scared up the hill ran into a wolf. Yeah. It's maybe a little too windy to take advantage of this. So yeah, if everything goes well, next couple streams we'll finish up the first Tales of the Far Territory. Wind doesn't blow that. That should be warm enough for us to make good progress here. Let's try to get the hide off first. It is arguably the high value item here in the long run. The next most high value item is just going to be the meat. Okay, we got an hour of time to get meat off of this carcass. It's been 12 minutes getting the first 2 kilograms off. Get it cooking. 40 minutes on that meat. Plenty on that fire. Can we get off in 40? About 7.
I'm not sure I can carry much more.
And then we should really get the rest of this meat off. Yeah, should really get the rest of this meat off. And both guts in the 42. Or in the 40 seconds left in that cooking. Yeah, I don't see, at least until the weather goes bad, I don't see a reason not to sit here and maximize the yield here. That way we got food in the convenient location if we come back to coastal, or come up to Mountain Town here again. We do at this point know that the bear is back in town. So eating the previous bear's bear carcass is less safe. Drop off the guts, drop off the hide, go back there and finish the cooking. It's kind of what I think the plan's going to be. The alternative would be to drag the meat into Great Miller's and use the six burner stove there. Actually, yeah, using the 6-burner stove is probably the most efficient way to go about doing this. Because I'm going to be cooking 6 things at a time. We'll see. I'm so used to not having easy access to a 6-burner stove. Outdoor fire... Okay, there's a risk that the fire gets blown out by the wind. But frequently on Interloper, you're going to get a full, time doubling, so your fuel goes twice as far outside as it does inside from a time perspective. So that basically makes the 2-burner make anywhere campfire the equivalent of 4 if it was inside. Doesn't necessarily mean it's not a bad idea, for example, to take it into a 6. 6 is 50% better than that even, so we'll probably just try to make use of what's left of this fire. And then we'll take the rest into the 6-burner stove, unless I've got 4 pieces left. That would be a blizzard. Don't think it's going to let me take this fire with me. We might be surprisingly protected here, but... Yeah, that's not going to take the fire with me. Still going to sprint over the rest of the way with the 5 lumps of meat. It costs us a match to light the 6-burner stove. Hello, Church Shredder. How many days have I been starting? Let me get inside and we'll check that. A lot of coffee, yes. I've been everywhere in the lower Great Bear at this point. So I haven't bought it from the trader. It has been all found. Though that probably is most of the remaining coffee on the island at this point. Day-wise, we're up to 236. So a lot of days. This is a fun situation where I can make use of it. It's not super important, but we go. And I can show off the fact that if you have a lit match and you use it to light stove campfire, you throw it in the stove. Yeah, thanks for saying it's good work. It's been a long run. We've been very productive. Gone ahead and basically got faithful cartographer on Interloper at this point. We're now moving on to trying to do the Hills of the Far Territories. So we just got back into Mountain Town here from Ash River Valley, where we were doing one of the bunkers. I think as far as the... see how far we are through the first Signal Void Tail. We got the Pleasant Valley one to do. Kind of screwed it up and almost got to the signal location when the aurora ended. The aurora is the Pleasant Valley one is the only one we don't have it done yet. Okay, so we just cooked all that meat. Let's eat the partial while the water's boiling. And then we'll keep it a little bit better on the porch, so we'll dump this on the porch. Okay. And then we take this torch. The torch is going to get blown out the moment we would step outside, but go with us anyway. Yeah, we're actually a little tired to leave, so it looks like we're probably going to stay here the night. Especially if it's still blizzard outside, it's not going to be worth waiting in the blizzard. Yeah, it's going to be cold and it's going to be dark, but we can get where we're going with cold and dark. That should be fine. As long as it's not blizzard, so we have visibility. We have to climb down, then climb back up to get out of Mountain down here and get back into Mystery Lake. And then from Mystery Lake, we travel over to Coastal Highway. To complete the next tail, probably the easiest way to do it is to trigger an aurora using the trader mechanics. And then try to use that aurora to run over and access the bunker in Pleasant Valley. Have I tried the Misery Challenge difficulty? No, I haven't. This run has been running since before Misery has been added, to give you an idea how long this run has been running. And while I do think Misery would be a bit of a challenge, at least some of the stuff we're doing in this run wouldn't be... don't think it would be feasible. I don't think we'd make it 200-something days in Misery. Misery is meant to kill you, and I'm pretty sure it would have killed me. So it's definitely not... like, this is a run that's going to end when the character dies, or when we complete everything. And will probably be the end of playing Long Dark on the channel for a little while. Got other games I want to play, and Long Dark, when you're doing good, goes for a very long time. Although maybe not in Misery. Misery is, from what I've heard of Misery, Misery is pretty bad from a difficulty survival standpoint.
can't feel my feet.
Okay, back in here to warm up. Pass the time. Then we can head out. Unlike when we came into or come into Mountain Town, we're not carrying a battery, so it's much easier to shimmy up and down these ropes. 15 kilograms is a lot of weight. Keeping my eyes on a little bit of a swivel down here. Where there frequently isn't a wolf spawned in down here, a wolf can spawn down here between these two climbs, so let's not assume it isn't here and run face first into it, then be overly paranoid and then not have anything to worry about. The long dark, long time playing it, so true. Yeah, that happens. This is, I think, the second run recorded on the channel. And the difference between the first run and the second run is the first run had exactly one stream. It went, I think, like 1 hour. Yeah, I think it went like 1 hour before we got finally done in. It was it didn't quite handle the start quite as well as the second run. The second run went a lot better. Obviously, because we're 200 so many days into it. Okay, let's light the lantern so I can figure out where I'm faced in this cavern. That's what we want. There's the rope. Shimmy up the rope. And we should be home free to get to Trapper's Cabin. Okay, most of the way up this climb. There we go. The character's getting cold relatively fast, but we should be able to get to the next cave to warm up fairly quickly.
Can't feel my hands.
The waterfalls here can be sometimes pretty cool to look at.
God damn freezing.
And on auto walk there for a bit, so that I could path with the mic muted, drinking a bit of tea as we walk our way back down the coastal highway. Being a little bit damaged isn't a problem. In fact, arguably, we haven't even taken so much damage that if we rest for too long, we'd be trying to recover more hit points than we've lost. Probably take most of this part to get down to Coastal Highway. The Coastal Highway, I think the next episode is going to be mostly fishing. We've got 40 kilograms of meat we want to make. We want to gather raw meat for Sutherland, which isn't going to be hard to do fishing. It's just we're going to be sitting next to a campfire, sitting next to our fishing hole with the fishing tackle in the hole for quite a while. How do you think, is it profitable to collect lantern fuel or lamp fuel from fish? It is. Well, I suppose on Interloper, it's the only renewable way to make lantern fuel. Or, I suppose you can technically trade Sutherland for lantern fuel, but it's a lot more efficient than trying to trade Sutherland for lantern fuel. It does take a lot of fish. So when we get down to my preferred fishing spot, you're going to see that I have a big pile of fish, because I've done that before. In fact, actually, not sure how much lantern fuel we've made to keep, but we made a lot of lantern fuel specifically to trade to Sutherland for one of the trades. But usually the trick I find to doing that is you want to use coal to harvest limbs nearby your fishing spot, because you only need 1 or 2 pieces of coal in the one is not cured. Only 1 or 2 pieces of coal in the proffered fire to keep you warm while fishing, and then after that you just need time, fire time, which you can very easily get with limbs. Limbs is very efficient for time. And then once you've got a decent number of fish, you can fish while cooking the fish to improve the fuel generation rate. Okay, it's a little bit cold, but this is at least decent weather. We'll start making the progress over to coastal. But yeah, most of the fishing I've been doing to make lantern oil has been coastal highway. I drag coal down from the coal mine to harvest limbs on Misanthrope and Jackrabbit Island, and then use the limbs to provide the fire time to stay warm on the fishing hole in the fishing hut
Looks like I
between the
made
two
it through
islands.
another night.
And while it's maybe not efficient from in-game time standpoint, way to make lantern oil, you make water. You can easily make water while fishing. You make fish. The fish provides you the calories and the vitamin C to keep you going while you're fishing. It can just be a little bit of a hard start, because you go through fishing tackle real quickly when your fishing level is low.
My fingers feel numb.
Found one birch bark. If we get lucky coming through this bit, we may find another. There we go. That'll allow us to make another birch bark tea later.
Wait. I'm so cold, I'm warming up again.
I'm probably just better off taking the condition damage from the cold here, rather than sprinting to get to the next place to warm up faster. Because at some point the character's going to need to sleep anyway, and you recover a condition when you sleep. So we're going to recover 6-7% condition minimum sleeping. Probably another 7 for sleeping at a full 7 hours shift when we do it. So yeah, if you do like a 10-hour sleep, you get like 40% condition back, depending upon the bed you sleep in. Some beds are better than others. Because apparently I demonstrated really recently by sleeping in Trapper's Cabin. I think Trapper's Cabin, supposedly people have tested like the best bed from the perspective of recovery for sleeping in the game. We were like 30%, 40% condition, and slept 10 hours. We're basically full. Surprising how much it healed. Most of the time you get like 40% condition sleeping for 10 hours. Okay, we do have a wolf crossing our path. We may be able to slightly avoid it and get around into the camp office safely without getting nibbled. Okay, it's noticed us, I think. Okay, it hasn't noticed us. It's actually noticed some rabbits. I don't want to waste the energy stealing its rabbit kill from it, so it can keep its rabbit. Warming up in here. We'll probably snooze for now, because that'll basically take us to full warmth. Then we'll set back out again. Now we're late in the day. If anything, it's probably colder because of the wind. It's a little windy here, I think. If everything goes according to plan, we'll at least make it to the next trailer cabin to warm up in. Not taking too much damage. Walking the ridge like I often do. The railroad track path that's below is probably the intended way to walk between these two locations, but more likely to have wolves on it. While walking the ridge like this, it usually keeps you away from the wolves. And while it does have a slight risk of a sprain on it, when you're wearing crampons all the time like I do, it's not that bad. And we're getting up onto the point in the ridge where you can occasionally find birch bark.
So cold.
As you can see up here, there are a couple birch trees. So you can find birch bark up here. That's what I'm keeping my head on the swivel for right now. Animal fat. Not sure what that was from. Might have been a wolf or something I aggroed up here. Holding onto ptarmigan or something. I know I hunted ptarmigan up here once. No luck today with birch bark. Oops. Sprain the wrist. So that's the risk of walking the ridge, is every once in a while you get a sprain. So the biggest problem with the sprain right now is I'm not carrying any stones, so my one and only weapon is a two-handed weapon, which makes it a little more complicated to threaten wolves. Good luck with finding a stone down here. No luck. We'll find one in a bit, so it's not a super issue. Ooh, pile of meat. The advantages of having cooking 5 on a 200-something day save is I have piles of meat just in random places. So as I'm walking around places, I can go like, oh, I'm hungry. Food. Nibble, nibble, nibble. Means I don't have to carry any of the smelly food with me. Allows me to keep the carrying capacity light, and my detection risk low. Oh, I suppose I was going to sleep an hour to warm up anyway in the cabins when we get here, so we can just up that rest to 2. Get the rest back. Oh, it's a good thing I have my bear coat. I was going to walk up close to that thing before it got scared. Do our snooze. Should remove the sprain. Yep, there goes the sprain. Hydrate up. And I think we just set back out again. As we get later into the day, it's going to probably get warmer, unless the weather goes terrible. You can see, at least at this point in the middle of the day... Ah, we got a wolf up there. Middle of the day, as long as we're in wind shelter, we are actually making one echelon of cold. Okay, wolf, you are in the way. At least it won't follow us through the transition zone here. So when we do transition, and it's past the transition already, it won't follow us through the loading screen. There we go, through the loading screen. Wolf goes away. Okay, clear the throat. So if I can, I should probably grab one of the rocks down by the stream here. So I've got a convenient ring to threaten wolves that are giving me problems. Drop the torch, pull up the rock, hold it threateningly in the direction of the wolf, and the wolf will run up, get scared by the torch, and run away. It's the usual plan to deal with wolves. When they're in your way. When they're not in your way, you can just walk away from them sometimes and they'll be fine. I see a birch bark. Yes, I know the second one was a stick, but stick hoarding is like a rite of passage for interloper players. Ooh, 3 pieces of birch bark. Okay, this is barely an extension, but we might as well finish burning what's left in this torch. So I leave the torch behind. Okay, swap torches. And like so. Over that little ridge. Yeah, I think we'll take a moment to warm up in the cave over here. Memory serves from the last time we came through, we did have a cured gut and a cured rabbit hide, so we can quickly assemble one bit of fishing tackle and use the fishing tackle to add the rabbit hide to our gloves here as a repair attempt. Oh, I'm actually surprisingly low on fuel. We'll just toss a limit, it'll be fine. Got a pile of them here for probably this exact reason. No, gotta first assemble a fishing tackle. Oh, that might have been where we got the sprain. I apparently did not put my crampons back on. Theory doesn't make a big difference, but might have made a little difference. And a little difference might have been the entire difference we needed to get the whole way to no sprains. Okay, that's a common shortcut I use when leaving that cave. Is from the cave side of that ridge, you can get up on the top of the ridge and really get back down it, saving you a little bit of time going around. Yeah, we can tell how warm it can be. Interloper, mid-afternoon, some of the easy zones, my character can actually be warm in the afternoon, especially with the torch going. So with this being warm, we should be able to get all the way down, at least until the weather changes. Well, unless the weather changes. Get all the way down to the fishing spot, having to stop to warm up again. Because while it's unlikely to necessarily stay exactly that warm, it is likely to stay warm enough that we don't freeze between here and there. It'll probably go negative again, but there's a difference between like -1 and -10. -10, your warmth bar disappears 10 times faster than -1, for example. Alright, for a little bit here that I've been walking on auto walk, so I'm going to intentionally turn it off by coming to a complete halt, and then we're going to manually walk across the bridge here. I will swap to a new torch before we start walking. Don't necessarily want to swap torches mid-bridge. And this is a bridge where you probably don't want to be on auto walk. There's not exactly a puzzle. There's a bit where the bridge has bits missing out of it, so you should be careful walking across it. Otherwise, you'll go down the bits. And this is an area that if you fall, it will, 100% of the time, kill you. So don't fall here. And there's literal death walls. It will kill you. If you want to billy goat down there, I'm not the person to come to see how to do it, but there are ways to billy goat down the ravine. Most of them require doing some degree of out of bounds. Because, yeah, there's death walls that will stop you. So you got to get out of bounds to get around the death walls. Well, that's why you can't fall there. If you fall there, it basically assumes that you've gotten stuck. So even if you were to normally survive the fall, it will count you as dead. Oh, I gotta remember, I got meat here. Take advantage of. Well, actually no, we'll leave that meat here, because there's barely any meat there, and I'd rather it be there for future me on the way out, rather than me on the way in. I got plenty of food to get down to the coastline. And take the river route down. There's a couple different ways to get down here. I tend to take one of two ways down. I either follow the river, or I follow the road. Depending on where I'm going. If I'm going to the garage, I'll probably follow the road. The river's the way I'm going if I'm going straight down to the fishing spot. The stuff I left behind because we looted a car battery in Desolation Point are in Misanthrope, so I kind of want to head straight to basically the fishing spot Misanthrope. And hopefully don't run into Timberwolves. That was, the last time we were in Coastal Highway, that was a surprise when we ran into Timberwolves. Darn wind taking my torch. Well, I said taking my torch. Taking my, my ignition on the torch. Blowing it out. So I don't remember exactly what we left behind, but we left a bunch of stuff behind in Misanthrope, so I want to get down to... I think that's a regular wolf, not a timber wolf. Would still like to avoid... No, not avoiding it. It's detected us. It is too windy to scare it off using the cheap renewable torches. Though I think I can probably walk the dog here to get away from it. Now, granted, apparently most of the stuff we left behind wasn't super important, so we'll find out what I've left behind when I get down there. I know it's some things like fire-hardened arrows, so it's stuff that's convenient to have, but you don't need on you all the time. Though, usually I would carry on me all the time, because I usually have the carrying capacity. The itinerant thing to late game Interloper is hauling around all the stuff you don't need to haul around because it's potentially going to be useful later. Okay, so we'll duck in here. We'll take a moment to warm up to get the wolf off her trail. Should be enough time to get the wolf to go away. This is the place where the bear can wander pretty close. This is why I left by being crouched, just in case the bear had decided to wander up while we were warm enough in the bed. Yeah, and I think that, let's see, point at it. That fishing hut out there, close to Jackrabbit Island. I ran into timberwolves there the other day. Got lost, got trapped there under a blizzard, and as soon as the blizzard ended, I'm starting to begin the process of leaving. Basically stepped out and heard the howl of timberwolves. I was like, it's not good. Or actually may have been that one. But yeah, basically timberwolves out in the middle of the ice here, which had basically already committed most of my fuel. Had commit what was left of my fuel basically to keep the timberwolves off me while I scared them off. And then we ran over to Jackrabbits. Because at that point I had enough visibility that I could figure out where it was to stop being lost. Human? Pretty sure we looted this human, yeah. So yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and let this part run a little bit longer. We're going to run a little bit longer still. We're going to get it over to Jackrabbit Island. We're going to take the long rest over there. Both to get our stuff back and to get our fatigue recovered. And then next one will be us debating how we're going to go about getting the 40 or so kilograms of meat, raw meat we need for the Sutherland trade. So at the beginning of next part, I'll probably bring up the trade. So we can look at what I need to get. I think it's 20 kilograms of any raw meat, 20 kilograms of raw fish, specifically. And we've delivered some of the water, so it was something like originally like 20 liters of water. We've delivered something like 13 kilograms already. We got like 7 to go.
I'm so cold. Just want to lay down for a bit.
So we're coming up soon on my main fishing hole, one I mostly use, which is this one right here. When I've had tip-ups, I've used tip-ups here as well. So unless there's a couple holes cut in the ice from when I was using tip-ups. And, okay, it's mostly at this point a pile of fish, but, or a pile of water, but there's fish in this water pile from when we've been manufacturing lamp oil. But yeah, so that's a very convenient one. You can drag coal down very easily from the coal line, and then using a piece or two of coal, usually a piece of coal, so it's usually a stick and a piece of coal, you can harvest limbs off of either of those islands spending 1 stick, 1 piece of coal per limb, which will yield you like 3 to... No, I think it's just 3. It will always yield you like 3 pieces of firewood. And 3 pieces of firewood from a raw, I need time to cook stuff or stay warm standpoint, fire is 3 hours of base fire. 3+ hours of base fire. And then you're outside, so you get the fire extension. It's a protected fire, so you don't have to worry about it blowing out, so you can be very efficient with the fuel out here. So even though it's not necessarily very efficient from a cooking the food standpoint, because it's just a 1-burner stove, arguably often when you're fishing, you're not generating the fish that quickly. So you don't necessarily need the stove to be super efficient, because otherwise it would be running too fast. Kind of just want to be having easy access to abundance of fuel. And then this is my pile of stuff, so we're gonna pick our stuff back up. Probably be over heavy because I've acquired more junk since then. I can probably leave the we'll still put the flour as well. So I suppose I could probably leave the flour behind. Oh, and actually, we'd still be under the 45 kilograms of carrying capacity I normally have when fully recovered. So we're not overly heavy. Granted, we need to leave all that stuff behind, and we did leave all that stuff behind so that we weren't over encumbered while carrying around a 15-kilogram battery. And this is where I'm going to go ahead and put the part break in for the episode. So if you're watching on YouTube, there will be a part up tomorrow. If you're watching on Twitch, I'm going to take a quick mic break to drink a little bit of tea, and then we're going to get right back to trying to complete that trade deal. So with that, wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part. Bye for now.